Day 15, stranded here on the island. I've begun to forget what real modern life is like. I ate an abundance of coconuts that I found drifting in the water. I was a little discouraged about the diuretic and laxative effects that they had. Won't be doing that again. If anyone finds this video, please let my husband know that I hid the chocolate in the kitchen cupboard under all of the healthy foods. He'll find them there. If I don't make it, just know that all of my Instagram photos were touched up. Also, I'm not a natural blonde. So today I'm in Fort Bragg at Glass Beach. I love Fort Bragg. It's one of my favorite places to come and get inspired. And today I am going to show you how from start to finish I complete an ocean resin art piece. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with videos like these. Thank you. I got this wooden canvas from Hobby Lobby. I think the brand's Master's Touch. And it's already covered with the white gesso, so it's ready to go. And so all I have to do is put some painter's tape on the back so that it helps with cleanup in the edges. And then this was my first time using 3D Crete by Counterculture, and I loved it. I highly recommend it. And I just mixed, I think it was a 3-to-1 ratio. You can follow the directions on the container or the website, and then mixed in some permanent black acrylic paint by Master's Touch. And this is really just to kind of give you a base color. I always paint my my concrete later on to help seal it. So this color right here is not going to be this dark. It actually lightens as it dries. So I let this dry overnight, and then I give it a spray with the air canister just to get all the debris off. And these are the acrylic paints that I'm going to lay a base coat down just to give me an idea of how I want the resin to flow. Unless you're pouring clear resin over this, you're not going to see these colors. This is purely for me just to get an idea of how I want to blend colors, where I want them to be, how I want to mimic sort of the depths of the ocean with the lighter and the darker blues and teals and so on. So don't get too stressed out about what colors you use here. I just happen to have these in my studio, so I use them just for reference. And I waited until the next day when this was completely dry, but you don't have to. You just wait a few hours for the acrylic to set and be dry enough to pour. And here we are, next day. I'm going to hit this with an air canister again just to make sure there's no crumblies from the concrete, the 3D Crete, and ready to start pouring some resin. And this is going to be several days of several layers, so don't get too bent out of shape of your colorants and exactly doing everything perfect. And I often will do one layer with colors one day, and then I may take a little bit of that teal and mix it a little bit differently the next day just to see the effects and so on. So don't worry too much about getting the exact ratios, because that's actually what I think makes these pieces look so unique and one of a kind. And I'll put a link in the description to my favorite micas that I use. And you know, like that green's probably 3 or 4 different micas that I threw in there, and I think the next day it was different. So I'm not gonna show you every single time I mix micas in my resin, but that's part of the creative process, and you'll become pros in no time on your style and your look with your mica mixes. Something that makes this piece extra special for me is that I actually created it for a fundraiser that we were having to raise money for our adoption. My husband and I have been trying for about 16 years to start a family, and we are going down the adoption route, domestic adoption. And so this piece actually helped bring in funds to help us adopt our child, which we're still in the process, but we're getting closer and we're getting really excited. And so I love that I got to make this video, and it's going to be a part of our adoption story. Also, the resin I'm using today is Counterculture DIY, their artisan resin. I really enjoy working with it. It's a nice viscosity and gives me a great working time. And side note too, if you ever have questions or have to deal with anything customer service wise, this is probably one of the best resin companies I've ever worked with. They have such a high value for customer service and friendliness and kindness. These days, you know, it's hard to find good customer service, and so their products are great. They're always coming out with new things. If you follow them on Facebook or Instagram, they always have fun giveaways. They will send products randomly to people just for free, just to be awesome. And so I love supporting this company. I'm not being sponsored by them yet, but I just have nothing but good things to say about them. So after I have blended and heated with the heat gun, I'm going to start making the waves. And to do that, I start with outlining some of the places that I want the waves to go with clear. And then I'm going to go back in and lay the white pigment on top. And I'll put a description, a link in the description, not a description. I'm describing it now. With what I use to do that, because it's actually a mix of two different companies, and so there I'm just going over the white, going over the clear with the white, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with my heat gun, and you're trying to push the white over the clear, and that's what's going to give you that like the 3D wave look. And then when you push white just on, like if you can see up top, I didn't put clear down over the dark blue, and that's going to pick up some of the dark blue in the white and give it a different effect. It just picks up more of the deep blue with the white, and I just really like the look of that. So after this, I'm going to hit it with my blowtorch. I have a little handheld blowtorch for this. It creates more cells when you go over what you just did with your, I almost said hair dryer. It's not a hair dryer, it's a heat gun. And so later on, I just wasn't happy with exactly how it turned out. So you're going to see me go back and forth and play around a lot with what I do with these layers to get what I want. And there we go. I wanted more of the blue to come up into the white to give it more depth. So I just covered it up with more blue and added more white. So there you go. And then I'm careful to push the resin away from the 3D Crete because I don't want too much of it to go up over the top. And now we're on day 2. It's cured overnight. And I'm going to go ahead and start to lay down the second layer. And again, this is a second layer, so I'm going to be adding a lot of different colors and new areas. Because I know as I heat it again with the heat gun and push resin around, it's going to shift, and you're going to see some of the first layer colors pop through. And you know, like some of the layers I wasn't too happy with, maybe some of the sections, so I just go ahead and cover it with a new color. And it's really the magic of these ocean pieces. As you do, you know, each day, you don't have to cover it all with, you know, new colors. I just like to do that because I like to see what happens when I heat it and it shifts again. But if you really like a certain area and want to keep it, then I suggest covering that with clear and then using the colorants, the colored resin in the areas that you want to maybe create a new effect. So that way you're preserving that area like I am doing right there. I really like that wave pattern. So I went ahead and just covered it with clear so that as I shift things around, it kind of creates a barrier. And if you don't like how something's turning out on that second layer, just wipe it off, as you're going to see me do here. I've done that many times, so there's nothing wrong with just taking your finger and getting some of that resin off and starting again in that corner pocket right there. I've done it lots of times, and you know, I try not to waste a lot of resin that way, but sometimes you just got to do it. Something I used for the first time that was a lot of fun was some of those holographic flakes that you get for like nail art, and I got some off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. And I just used a little bit here or there and that jungle green mica powder, and it just gave it like such neat depth and just a little bit of shimmer, and I love how it just added to the piece. So it's day 3, and I'm going to use a few different tools today. Some spatula and I don't know the name of the other tool. You saw it. Okay, so it's the third pour, so I want to be a little more finite with my details here, and that's why I brought out those tools. I'm doing another layer of the dark blue in that corner. Again, just seeing if I can get a little bit more depth in that corner that I'm wanting to get. Sometimes you just got to keep trying. So it's day 4, and today I am just putting a clear coat over the top and using my spatula to just help direct it so it doesn't spill too much over into the 3D Crete. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and start to paint my rocks. And that also helps to seal in the 3D Crete and help it from crumbling. I've had really good success with just painting over concrete using acrylics. And with that final layer, you just really want to make sure that you hit every area with your heat gun and with your blowtorch, just to make sure that all those micro bubbles are popped. Day 5, and I let that top coat sit overnight so it's nice and dry and cured. And these were just some grays and blacks that I had in my cupboard. Again, I'll leave a link to these. It doesn't have to be these. These were just the colors that I was going to play around with. And I ended up just mixing in a lot more of that carbon black towards the end, as you'll see, after I put the first layer down. Okay, it is the 6th day, and everything has dried and cured to the touch. And so before it cures too long, I want to get the back tape off. I use a heat gun to do that so that the drippings come off with it. And you can always use an X-Acto knife to get in there and get it off if it is not coming off with the tape. And depending on your resin, it can take 3 to 4 days before it's fully cured. I prefer to wait at least a week before I ship these pieces, just to be on the safe side. The longer the better. And there you are in the brilliant sunlight, my finished piece. I was very happy with it. I love the shimmer and the effect that the 3D Crete created for the rock formations. And also, again, just that this was a part of our adoption story, and that it helped bring in funds that is going to bring home our newborn. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these.